Okay, I want you to picture a city, one of the greatest cities in the ancient world, and it is holding its breath. The air is cool, but nobody's at peace. You've got soldiers on the streets, doors are locked up tight, and there's this strange nervous tension hanging over everything. It's like that feeling you get in a nightmare, right before something terrible happens. That's the world we're about to step into. The author, Georg Ebers, kicks off his novel Serapis with that exact line. And it just perfectly plunges us into this feeling of dread, of anticipation. You know right away this isn't just another quiet night in the city. This is the calm before a storm, a really, really big one. So here we are, Alexandria, Egypt, the year 391 AD. What Ebers' novel does is give us this incredible front row seat to a massive turning point in history. We're talking about the final violent showdown between the ancient pagan world and the unstoppable rise of Christianity.
Now, to really understand this conflict, you first have to get a feel for the world that was about to vanish, the world of the Greco-Roman gods, a tradition that was really facing its final curtain call. This slide really gets to the heart of the pagan worldview. See, for them, religion wasn't some separate thing you did on a Sunday. No, it was woven into the fabric of life, into art, into philosophy, into civic pride. The gods were in the world. So creating a beautiful statue, that was an act of worship. They celebrated beauty, the human form. They saw the divine right here in the material world.
And the absolute pinnacle of this worldview was the Serapium, this magnificent temple to the god Serapis. To characters like the old musician Karnas, it wasn't just a pile of stones. It was a symbol of permanence, a fortress of culture and beauty that was supposed to stand forever. But here's the thing about forever. That feeling of permanence, it was an illusion. Because a powerful new faith was sweeping across the Roman Empire, and it had come to Alexandria to fight for the city's very soul. Now the Christians, led by fiery figures like Bishop Theophilius, they were coming from a completely different place. Their God wasn't in the statues, he was transcendent, totally outside of creation. And that meant that worshiping idols wasn't just a different belief, it was a profound sin. You were mistaking the created thing for the creator. So their faith demanded piety and a total rejection of these idols. It wasn't about coexisting, it was about purification. And this wasn't just some abstract philosophical threat, no way. The city had just seen the beautiful Temple of Dionysus, once a local treasure, get pulled down, and its rubble literally thrown into a lake. For the pagans of Alexandria, this was a horrifying act of desecration. It was a terrifying sign of what was coming for them.
So, to make this huge, epic struggle feel really personal, the novel zooms way in, focusing on one single family caught right in the middle of this religious war. All right, meet the family of Karnas. They're wandering musicians. Karnas and his son, Orpheus, are devout pagans, totally passionate about their art and their gods. But traveling with them is Agne, a young Christian orphan they saved. Her incredible voice is the star of their show, but her faith puts her in direct conflict with their entire way of life. And here is where it all comes to a head. The family gets a job offered that could pull them out of poverty. It's a lifeline, but there's a catch. The wealthy pagan family who wants to hire them has one condition. Agne, the devout Christian, has to perform a pagan song inside the temple of Isis. This just forces her into an absolutely impossible choice. Her faith, her art, or her loyalty to the very people who rescued her. This very personal crisis blows up into the novel's central question. When two ideologies are locked in a death grip, what happens to the things that live in the space between? Things like art and music. Can they build a bridge between the two sides, or are they just going to get crushed in the conflict? So, while Agne and her adoptive family are wrestling with this impossible choice, the city all around them is just spiraling towards its breaking point. The storm isn't on the horizon anymore, it's here. Just look at how all these different forces are converging at once. A new edict from the Christian emperor suddenly restricts their very profession. The recent destruction of the temple proves the Christians are not messing around. Then you have hordes of these zealous monks flooding into the city from the desert, basically acting as the bishop's shock troops. And then the final piece. A top imperial official arrives. That signals the state itself is about to make its move. The stage is set for one final, bloody confrontation at the Serapium. You know, the story of Serapis isn't really about who wins or loses a religious war. It's a tragedy about a moment of profound, irreversible change. It really forces us to ask,
When one way of life completely swallows another, what do you gain? Sure, but more importantly, what is lost forever? What art, what knowledge, what kind of beauty just vanishes, never to be seen again?
This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.